Hello, good morning viewers. This is Saraswati and today I welcome you all in online classes of RAD group of schools. So students, today I'm going to teach the very important topic, that is the red trap. So already we have done two videos of the red trap. It means the half content approximately of the chapter is done. So now I'm going to proceed the remaining part of the chapter, and this is the third video of the same topic, the red trap. So students, before beginning of the topic, I want to introduce you with the certain objectives. Those will help you out in understanding what will be explained in today's video. So objectives are to know about the philosophical aspect of human life and to understand the universal fact of materialistic world. It means what is philosophical life is, and to understand what is the materialistic vision of the world, and to define the actual feature of human nature, and to highlight the human predicament of temptation. It means we all human beings have the temptation attraction for the things in the world, and we always have the different human nature that we always want to acquire more and more things. To define the power of love, understanding psychological motivation, and we want to always acquire the power of love and all this, but we know that the power of love understanding can change the human heart and it can bring the revolutionary change in the human nature. So now students, today I'm going to start the recap. Okay, so recap means what we have done in the last two videos. So the iron master invites peddler at his home, but as you know that the peddler denied for that, and peddler declines to his proposal because already he had stolen 30 kroners, so it was quite risky to go at that home. So Adela convinces peddler and brings him at her home, but Adela, who had the better persuasion power, and she visited in the iron mill and she brought him at her home. And Iron Master became happy to find his friend at his home on Christmas Eve. Now Iron Master was quite happy because he thought that he had invited his old comrade, resident comrade, and today he'll be guest of the year on Christmas Eve festival. So now we will discuss about the content or the text, and line to line explanation I'll do, and meanwhile that explanation students, we will discuss about the difficult words and other literary devices or the terms used in the chapter. So please everybody be attentive. The stranger had stretched himself out on the floor and lay with a piece of pig iron under his hat and his hat pulled down over his eyes. As soon as the young girl caught sight of him, he went up and lifted his hat. The man was evidently used to sleeping with one eye open. He jumped up abruptly and seemed to be quite frightened. "My name is Adela Wilmanson," said the young girl. So, yes, students, Adela Wilmanson, who had the better persuasion power, and she was requested by her father that definitely she should go and she should invite that person. It means his old comrade friend, and he can come at their home on the Christmas Eve until you will not convince him, he'll not be able, maybe because he had denied to me. So on that, Adela convinced and she went at the iron mill and she invited him. So what happens when Adela went there? The stranger was sleeping nearby the furnaces, and he had the habit of close one eye and one eye open during sleeping. So it was looking quite odd and quite awkward that how he was sleeping. As soon as the young girl caught sight of him, she went up and lifted his hat. The man was evidently used to sleeping, and it means, and when the sound of someone's walking was heard by that peddler, and he just only removed his hat because he had covered his face with a hat. So when he heard some voices, then he just only removed his hat from the face. At that time he found that somebody was there, and he found that a young girl was standing there, and she was Adela Wilmanson, daughter of Iron Master, but he was not aware about that. And as soon as he just only kept away, as soon as he just only removed his hat from his face, then his one eye was closed and one was open. So it was appearing as he was winking to someone and seemed to be quite frightened. "My name is Adela Wilmanson," said the young girl. "My father came home and said that you wanted to sleep here in the forge tonight, and then I asked permission to come and bring you home to us. I'm sorry, Captain, that you are having such a hard time." She looked at him compassionately with her heavy eyes, and then she noticed that the man was afraid. So at that time, Adla Wilmanson gave the explanation that she has come here just only to bring him at her home because her father told that there is one person and who is sleeping in the iron mill. It means nearby the in the forge nearby the furnaces, and he was his all acquaintances among his all acquaintances, but he is not ready to come. So on this, Adla said him to that, I want that you should come at our home. And she also said that she looked at him compassionately with her heavy eyes, and then she noticed that the man was afraid. And she noticed that, and she thought that definitely this man is quite afraid, that's why he's denying to come. Either he had stolen something or had escaped from jail. She'll be allowed to leave us just as freely as you come. Only please stay with our Christmas Eve. She said this in such a friendly manner that the Rattrap peddler must have left confidence in her. But the way of convincing that was used by Adla, it was quite very impressive because she herself identified that the person definitely is thief. He had stolen something, or either he had escaped from the jail. Means, as student, maybe she thought that he had committed some crime, or maybe unknowingly the crime was committed by him, but now he was totally afraid, and now he was not able to go out anywhere. Reason is because police anytime could arrest him. So she identified that feature psychologically because her psychology was strong, as we know in the chapter also. So she explained 2 or 3 lines before him that you are as liberal as you are now. Anytime, whenever you want to leave us, you can come. But my request is that only on the Christmas Eve you should stay with us. This is only my request. So he agreed to go with her. It would never have occurred to me that you would bother with me yourself, miss. He said, I will come at once. He accepted the fur coat which the valet handed him with a deep paw, threw it over his rags, and followed the young lady out to the carriage without granting the astonished blacksmith so much as glance. But while he was riding up to the manor house, he had evil forebodings. Why the devil did I take the fellow's money? He thought, now I'm sitting in the trap and will never get out of it. The next day was Christmas Eve, and when the ironmaster came out of the dining room for breakfast, he probably thought with satisfaction of his old regimental comrade, whom he had run across so unexpectedly. First of all, we must see to it that he gets a little flesh on his bones, he said to his daughter, who was busy at the table. So, first of all, he found that the person had come at their home and he was quite very afraid, and now he followed Adla, and with Adla he reached at their home. And in the morning, when the breakfast table was prepared, then he was waiting for his friend, and he was waiting that the person who is his friend must come on the breakfast table. He must take the breakfast. And secondly, first of all, we must see it to that he gets a little flesh on his bones. He said to his daughter, who was busy at the table, and he was giving the description of that person that he was really very poor by health, and nowadays his physical appearance is quite poor because his body hardly has the flesh on the bones, and he was discussing about peddler. And then we must see that he gets something else to do than to run around the country selling red traps. It is queer means bizarre, peculiar, different, odd. That things have gone downhill with him as badly as that, said the daughter. Last night I did not think there was anything about him to show that he had once been an educated man. You must have patience, my little girl, said the father. As soon as he gets clean and dressed up, you will say something different. Last night he was naturally embarrassed. The tramp manners will fall away from him with the tramp clothes. Just as he said this, on the door opened and a stranger entered. So now Edla and his father both are discussing about their guest, means about their visitor, Mr. Peddler or Vagabond. So father was saying that really the things went downhill with him. It means bad luck. So it means he was the victim of the bad luck and things really went wrong with him. Otherwise, he was an educated person. And last night, whatever was observed by him in that person, it was quite really very compassionate and kindful. And he was feeling regret over the situation that why it happened with him. You must have patience, my little girl, said the father. But father said that you must have little patience. Nowadays, he is using rags on his body, and he has a long beard, so that's why he is looking just like a peddler, a vagabond. But now, when he will come in the morning on the breakfast table, he will be in the different attire, in the different look, because he will be with clean shaved and with wonderful dress. So means his rag form will just only left with the rag dress. So definitely there will be change. As he said that the stranger came out as he opened the door, and he wore a white shirt and a stretched collar and the small shoes. But although his guest was now so well groomed, the iron master did not seem pleased. Moreover, he was dressed in a good looking suit of the cloths which belonged to the iron master. He wore a white shirt and a stretched collar and wall shoes. But although his guest was now so well groomed, the iron master did not seem pleased. It means as he came out, he was well dressed, because one suit was gifted by Iron Master through Edla to him. So he was thinking that now he will look very decent, civilized, and a good person with a good and attractive personality. But as he came out, then Iron Master did not become happy. The reason was because at that time he knew about the reality of that person, because his rags form had gone and now he was quite visible. His features, his body appearance, everything was visible. So Iron Master realized that he had mistaken, and just only in understanding that person. He looked at him with puckered brow, and it was easy to understand that when he had seen the strange fellow in the uncertain reflection from the furnace, he might have made a mistake. Yes, students, this is very quite, we can say, this is the wonderful kind of line. What is that? Means when he had seen the strange fellow, the uncertain reflection from furnaces, he might have made a mistake. This time Iron Master realized that, means when he met to that person in the night, at that time he was sleeping and he was nearby the furnaces. So actual appearance of his face was not visible at that time. So it was the greater mistake of Iron Master that he had mistaken in understanding that person, in identifying that person. He had understood him just like his friend, but it was not so. So at that time he thought that yes, this was the mistake of his. It was impossible to mistake him for an old acquaintance. What does this mean? He thundered. The stranger made no attempt to dissimulate. He saw at once that the splendor had come to an end. It is not my fault, sir, he said. I never pretended to be anything but a poor trader, and I pleaded to and begged to be allowed to stay in the forge. But no harm has been done. At worst, I can put on my rags again and go away. Well, said the Iron Master, hesitating a little. It was not quite honest either. You must admit that, yeah, and I should not be surprised if the sheriff means any legal person, would like to have something to say in the matter. The tramp means vagabond took a few steps forward and struck the table with his fist. Fist means, it means just fingers, like just appearance, all fingers together just like an appearance is called the fist. So students, what happens in this passage, that Iron Master identified the actual appearance of that person and he started to blame, and he thundered and he started to cry that this is very bad fellow and he had cheated them and he was foolish and the stupid being, and it is not good, he is not honest. At this, stranger replied that, sir, it is not my mistake, and even I had not requested to you, and I never pretended to be your friend. I was telling that he was a poor trader, so it is not his mistakes, and nothing he has taken from them, so nothing can be done with him. And if they don't want him to stay there, then he just only taken one dress, and again he can put on his rag cloths, and he can take the same attire again and same form again, and he can go from there and nothing is gone. So in that manner he said that yes, definitely this is not my fault. Now I'm going to tell you, Mr. Iron Master, now things are, he said, this whole world is nothing but a big rat trap. And before that, one more thing I want to tell, that the Iron Master even threatened him that if he will stay here more, then definitely he will call the police and he will be arrested, and it's better you should go away from here. And he also said that you are not honest, otherwise you yourself could tell that. And on this matter, the iron master and the peddler told that, yes, Mr. Iron Master, now I want to explain the things for you. He said, this whole world is nothing but a big rat trap. It means philosophically, I want to tell you that this whole world is not nothing but a big rat trap. All the good things that are offered to you are nothing but cheese, rinds, and bits of pork set out to drag a poor fellow into trouble. And if the sheriff comes now and locks me up for this, then you, Mr. Iron Master, must remember that a day may come when you yourself may want to get a big piece of pork, and then you will get caught in the trap. So now very wonderful line is spoken by peddler, a poor vagabond. He said that yes, today, just because of this attraction, the visit of your home, today I have caught in this situation. So it is not a wrong thing. It means every human commits such kind of mistake as I have committed. In the same manner, he said that yes, there will be a day when you yourself will be caught in the same situation. So it is not so far. So Iron Master was frightened as well as he became very unhappy. That why he was saying so. And Mr. Iron Master must remember that a day may come. It means as a pork, it means a piece of pork or cheese that will attract you, and you will also be caught in that. The Iron Master began to laugh in funny manner. He made the fun of him, and that was not so badly said. My good fellow, perhaps we should let the sheriff alone on Christmas Eve, but now get out of here as fast as you can. But just as the man was opening the door, the daughter said, I think he ought to stay with us today. I don't want him to go. And with that, she went and closed the door. What in the world are you doing? Said the father. The daughter stood there quite embarrassed and hardly knew what to answer. So what happens then? First of all, peddler speaks that it is not only in my case, the whole world, it means all the human beings in the world are the same rat. Those are always attracted towards pork and cheese. In the same manner, I as attracted, in the same manner you will also be attracted. Today I have caught, there will be a day when you will be caught in that. So this is common thing. Then this statement was laughed at by laughed at by Iron Master, and he said that you should think about yourself first, and later you should think about me, and you should leave the place as early as possible and go from here. But as he said that, then Iron Master, as he was just only about to open the door, and he opened the door, he was about to go, then Iron Master's daughter Adlasi said that it's better we should allow him to stay here at least for one day of Christmas Eve, then he can go at his home tomorrow. So at this, Iron Master was in the beginning was not ready to give the consentment for this, but later he became ready, and he said that what an embarrassing work you are doing. That morning she had left so happy when she thought how homelike and Christmassy she was going to make things for the poor hungry wretch. She could not get away from the idea all at once, and that was why she had interceded for the vagabond. I'm thinking of this stranger here, said the young girl. He walks and walks the whole year long, and there is probably not a single place in the whole country. So students, you must know that how Adela and Iron Master both are just only arguing for the matter of peddler, because Adela wants that the peddler should stay here, and who wants, it means he doesn't want that the peddler should stay here, means Iron Master. So what happens then? That morning she had felt so happy, but as later, it means after the request of Adela, Iron Master allowed him only to stay for one day of Christmas. So what happened that morning? She had felt so happy when she thought how homelike and Christmassy she was going to make things. She was very happy because she was going to make the different kinds of things on the Christmas Eve, and some spicy, some sweet she was preparing on that day for the occasion of Christmas. And for that, but she was quite happy on that because she was making the things for a very poor and hungry person, and who had never got anything, just only for the satisfaction of his belly. So she could not get away from the idea all at once, and that was why she had interceded for the vagabond. I'm thinking of the stranger here, said the young girl. He walks and walks the whole year. She is saying that it means there is no comfort, no relief in their life. These people like poor vagabonds and wanderers, beggars. They walk from place to place during the whole year and nothing they get. There never remain a single place in the whole country where they don't go. But never they get any kind of satisfaction where he is welcome and can feel a home. But there is a great irony that it means the people visit place to place. The people go at so many places, but never there is a single place wherever they are welcomed. They are treated as a good human. No, they always treated as an inferior one. So whenever he turns, he is chased away, and always he is afraid of being arrested and cross-examined. And whenever any kind of investigation or inspection takes place, then always people like beggars and vagabonds are always searched, because police also think that they move from place to place, then definitely anything can be there. So they always chased away by the people or by the authorities or by the police. I should like to have him enjoy a day of peace with us here, just one in the whole year. The Iron Master mumbled something in his beard. He could not bring himself to pose, and it was all mistake, of course. See, continued, but anyway, I don't think we ought to chase away a human being whom we have asked to come here and to whom we have promised Christmas cheer. It means Adla says that whatever can be the reason, but at least we should not say. It means definitely we should allow them. Why? Because already we have invited him, so this is not good. If once we have invited someone and again we can send him there, so this is not good. This is against the human law. This is against the human tendency. So definitely we should not do so. So you do preach worse than a person, said the Iron Master. On this, Iron Master commented back on his daughter that yes, you are preaching me a lot, you are giving me a lot of education on the basis or on the manner or on the topic of peddler and jugglers and the beggars, and I only hope you would not have to regret this. And this is very important line, students. I hope you would not have to regret this. And he says that it is my hope that over your decision you should not what regret over it. The young girl took the stranger by the hand and led him up to the table. Now sit down and eat, she said, for he could see that her father had given in. The man with the red trap said not a word. He only sat down and helped himself to the food. And she had already served the food on the breakfast table, so she requested to peddler that he should come. And she herself went near by the door, and she caught his hand and she brought him back on the breakfast table. And at this, the Iron Master already was who was already sitting there. He did not say a single word, and peddler sat there and he started to eat, and nothing a single word was spoken by him on that. So what we find that, yes students, now it's time to conclude the today's video. Then what we have explained in it, it means the Iron Master who had already invited the peddler, and peddler declined for that. So what happens then? Adla goes there who has the better convincing power, and she brought him at her home. But after reaching at home, and he was invited to the breakfast, but before that Adla was given a dress by Iron Master to offer him, and Adla offered him, and she instructed that he should take a proper bath and he should shave himself proper, and he should come in a proper attire dress that was gifted to him. So in the morning at the breakfast table, Iron Master was very happy because he was thinking that he will meet to his old friend, and he was just only providing the food to hungry person, so he was happy. But at the Iron Master was sitting there and peddler came there, then he was looking different. So at that time Iron Master realized that it was his mistake, because the person who is in front of him is not his friend, not his old comrade in the regiment. It means he was any beggar, any vagabond, but not his friend. So at that time he realized his mistake, but he blamed the peddler also, because peddler also was not honest. Otherwise he could tell that I'm not Captain Neil Saloff, as you are understanding me. But on this, as he scolded him and he ordered him just only to leave his house on the spot. But Adla requested to her father that if already they had invited him, then definitely he should enjoy the Christmas Eve, then he should go. And on this, Iron Master warned his daughter that she must think that there can be any kind of loss, any kind of a risk for her, so she must think about that. And after this video is over. So students, in this video will we have discussed about the objectives and few recapitulations and the explanation of the text and the difficult words we have discussed. So thank you and have a nice day.